these questions. If we want peace and we want to know what it looks like, then we have to ask ourselves, what does the word mean? What does peace mean? And even, what does the phrase looks like mean? I mean, the question I'm asking is, what is peace and what does it look like? And from what vantage point? Are we talking about what it looks like from inside or from outside? You know, is peace what happens when other people see us and we appear peaceful? Or is peace something that's deep in our heart that radiates outward? I think it's a really important question. You know, I just want to bring up something real quickly, and then I want to ask some questions of you all. It reminds me of when I was a kid and I was in the science fiction book club. Now, any of you that know me know that story and know that I'm an adult dork. And it's kind of a funny thing, you know, to have been that kid, you know, that kid that's still inside me. You know, myself in 5th grade, I remember being at the science fiction book club and looking around the table and seeing all the dorks of the whole region that seemed to have gathered in that one spot. Later on, when I would go to science fiction conventions, it would be much the same thing. It would be these huge groups of dorks, and I felt so happy with it. You know, it was a huge thing when I came to have peace with myself, not having to be what other people wanted me or thought I should be. You know, there's an old argument in science fiction about this TV show called Star Trek. Star Trek. Do you guys remember that show? You know, of course, they've had many incarnations, but I'm talking about the original Star Trek TV show. So, you know, we all have heard that statement. It's iconic. Beam me up, Scotty. Beam me up. You know, so they would have this thing where they would be disassembled and they would be assembled somehow on the planet, and they would be brought back, reconstituted. But the argument is that really them? Remember faxes? Faxes, remember that? I mean, you know, we don't have really faxes anymore, at least I don't think we do. But you guys remember faxes? You know, it was the idea of a facsimile. You know, when someone would fax you a document, the actual piece of paper that they had wouldn't come over to you. It would be a facsimile of what they had. And so my point is, when someone would become disassembled and be brought down to the ground, would that really be them? Would that really be them? Because they were reconstituted, recreated, are they the same person that they were when they were on the ship, or is it something entirely different? So what I would suggest is that we are looking for authenticity. We're not looking for a facsimile. What I would suggest is that we're looking for what peace really means and what it really is. And it's incredibly important. You know, again, it comes back to, you know, my early life and things like science fiction or fantasy. In fantasy novels, you would often have an individual who didn't understand their power and that were coming up against forces beyond their understanding, feeling like a cork on the ocean, and feeling like they were dealing with something beyond any capability they had to meet the situation. Well, to me, that really sounds like us. We are in that position. And what I would like to suggest is that we have to understand the rules of magic in any fantasy area. I'm talking, you know, every fantasy novel has a underlying cosmology of what magic looks like there. So my point is, what are the rules of magic here? What are the rules of magic here? What makes us powerful? Are we powerful when we are truly ourselves? Or are we powerful when we're trying to manipulate others? Is that truly being ourselves? So when we ask ourselves what peace looks like, I think it's really, you know, another way of phrasing it is, what does your face look like? What does your face look like? If I was to ask you what your face looked like, what would you say? You know, many of us would describe the features of our face that we've seen so many times, and yet the truth is we've never actually seen our actual face. Our actual face is what we shine out into the world. Your face is the image you have right now that's looking out in the world. You know, your face is a cosmic mirror. Light shines and illuminates all that it sees. It has no exceptions. And so that's what we want to understand about peace. Peace has no exceptions. there's a term in Stoicism called amor fati, which I'm told means love of fate. So this is what peace is. Peace is understanding the entirety of what we are and who we are meant to be. And so I want to ask you guys some questions, and I want to do some practice that can help us stimulate that grounded peacefulness. What is peace? Can I ask any of you to chime in? What do you think peace is? And do you understand what I'm saying about it shining from inside out rather than coming from outside in? Anyone at all, if you could raise your hand and be a part of this conversation. Anyone at all. Now, I'm also glad to ask people too, if that works best. So how about that? Anyone have any idea what peace means? What does peace mean to you? How about Curtis? How about you? Would you mind telling us what peace means to you?
Really?
You have to unmute. Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. I'm unmuted. One moment. Here I am.
Yep.
What does peace mean to me?
Yes.
What does peace mean to me? It's a sense of integrity between who I am and how I'm being in the world.
Beautiful.
A sense of integrity, authenticity, a sense of really feeling at peace with who I am and how I'm being. So my actions are congruent with my sole purpose.
Beautiful. So does that mean that if a person, and I'm not trying to lead this, I'm just asking you the question. Does that mean if a person feels that they're in their authenticity in terms of having a lot of anger and hatred, that if they're acting like that in the world, then that is a peaceful relationship? What does that mean?
I think that comes down to definition of authenticity, and I think it's your heartfelt intention.
Beautiful. I love that.
So it's in alignment. Your actions are in alignment with your heartfelt intentions.
Beautiful. I love that.
Therefore, I'm just not expressing aberrant personality quirks. You know, I'm not indulging anger, etc. That's not authentic because you're not in congruence with your heart.
I really love that. And that last little bit really helped to bring it home for me. Thank you very much, Chris. How about anyone else? Can we get a few more people to describe what peace means to them? Because it's really important that we take a look at this. Anyone else? Let's see. It says, I have one person here who says, right now peace means silence because I have a noisy neighbor. From Jill, it says, being calm and content when I think about others and the world. So, you know, again, this is very interesting because it brings us into a part of the realm that I'm wanting to actually go into in this conversation. What I would suggest to you is that peace means different things to you at different levels of your being and also different levels of your orientation. If you are disoriented, peace may mean something different to you than it means when you're truly yourself. As Curtis was saying, you know, this authentic relationship to our true values. If we are running in opposition to our true values, we won't be at peace. And so what I'm suggesting is that we exist like a high-rise of building. And all these floors have a different level of activity, and they're all going on at the same time. You know, on one level, we have the people who are running the corporation, and they think they're in charge. However, at different levels, these things mean different things. And I would suggest to you that in many ways, what peace means is your ability to enjoy your life experience. If you can't enjoy your life experience, you won't be at peace. You know, it's kind of like the movie Raiders of the Lost Ark. You know, when I was a kid, I really loved that movie. But I would suggest to you that if I really took this movie as completely real, as reality, I would not have enjoyed it. We wouldn't enjoy some of these movies that we love so much if we're too closely identified with it. So to me, one of the elements of peace is being able to take a step back and observe the play. Observe the whole play, including yourself as one of the actors in the play. So again, it exists at different levels at the same time. On one level, it means that you're an actor and you're moving through the world and you're dealing with really horrendous situations. But it's really important that we not get so sucked into that we don't realize that we are that person, but we're also behind that person observing the entirety of our life experience. Being at peace on one level means a level of equanimity, tranquility, allowing things to be as they are, including ourselves, and being able to have peace with that. I would suggest that you can be incredibly dedicated to creating change in this world and still be at peace. You can be incredibly angry about things you've seen happening and still be at peace. It just means that we have to exist at these levels at the same time and not hold on to things too rigidly. Can we get a couple more people to give us some reference of what peace means to you? Either we can do it on the chat or you can do it by raising your hand, either way. Anyone else have any suggestions? How about yourself, Ellen? What is your feeling about what peace means? If you wouldn't mind asking. You have to unmute yourself. You have to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, yes.
I got to unmute everybody.
Okay, go right ahead.
Curtis, you want it?
I think, you know, I've always wondered how to pronounce your name. Is it Ellen, like Ellen?
Oh, Ellen, is that who you're looking for?
Okay. Gary, can you unmute Ellen Corey for me, please?
Yeah, I can find her.
So while you're looking at it, I'm just going to continue. And Ellen, I'm going to come back to you because I'm very interested in what you have to say about this. All right? Oh, go right ahead. You're unmuted now. Go ahead. What are you going to say? First, how do you pronounce your name exactly? Because it's not a spelling I'm used to.
Yeah, it's Ellen, like the two letters of the alphabet, L, and then N as in Nancy.
Okay, Ellen. Okay, beautiful. Thank you. And so what is your sense of the word peace? What does that mean?
Well, to me, peace is tranquility and silence. I don't know. Silence.
That's beautiful. That says you said enormous amounts. So you said silence, and it also means tranquility. And so again, one of the things that we want to understand about peace is that we have to order it. You know, it's like having a birthday present that you want to give for someone, and the birthday's coming closer, or maybe you have Christmas shopping or Hanukkah shopping or some other big event that you're shopping for. And all of a sudden it starts getting closer and closer, and you start feeling stress. But when you order that gift online, as soon as you hit that button, you have a release of stress because you now know that the present is coming to you. And so when we order peace, when we have it on order, we can relax a little bit. We can relax a little bit. We don't have to be at peace in order to be able to get some of the benefits of being at peace. We just have to make sure that we understand where we're aiming to. You know, and again, one of those most important things is to see what your values are and not to be fooled by fool's gold. You know, that element that looks like gold but isn't gold. I would suggest that's a lot of what happens in the world today. They think that you can come to peace by being angry, that you can make things peaceful by hating. That's not my perception. I don't think that's the way it works. There's the old saying that the gift of patience is patience. And the gift of peace is peace. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't fight injustice, but we're not filled with rage and hatred as we do. Being filled with rage is like breathing in sooty smoke into your lungs. You know, we can't operate and function accurately if we're just too tumultuous. You know, it's like that stillness, the silence. And so what I would like to suggest to you, just like the deep ocean, is that there's some part of you that is always at peace, that has never not been at peace, but it doesn't need to clamor for your attention. It is at peace, and so it can sit back and like, hey, we got this, I'm not worried. Of course, the part of you that's freaked out is like grabbing you, like, we gotta do something, we gotta do something. We can be aware of the entirety without getting sucked into any one of those elements. Thank you so much, Ellen. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you for helping me pronounce it's so simple, but I just didn't quite understand the pronunciation. So thank you very, very much. I see someone has gone in the chat. Let me see what we're saying here. It says, let's see. My ex-father-in-law died this morning after a long, drawn-out battle against cancer. To me, that is the ultimate peace. You know, Patty, so first of all, I'm so sorry to hear about that. I know this is your ex-father-in-law, but I'm sure that you have a big history with this person. And I do understand, you know, I've had a lot of deaths recently. And one of them was a friend of mine who had a very, very challenging time with cancer, and I had the opportunity to sit with her in her dying process, and it was a true blessing to me. And so I really get that. You know, peace is that end of suffering on some levels. You know, when you see someone who has suffered a long time through a disease, and to have them finally have it come to a culmination, that is an element of peace. And by the way, peace is being at peace with our lives. So what is your life? Is it this body that you're connected with? Is it everything that happens? So on one level, your life is everything from birth all the way to the very end and slightly after death. Anything in this realm is your life. Every single person you've ever met, every experience that you've had. In fact, if you really respect someone, or even if you don't like them, part of how you come to that is by examining the events of their life. So we can be at peace with death too. It's okay. Just like we can be at peace with aging. It's okay. And we can be at peace with what's going on in our society and be absolutely determined to change it. But we don't have to hate. The Buddha said you can't wash away blood with blood, right? And the more we get caught up in other people, so say we're in a situation as we are in our world today, where so many people are filled with so much anger, and we're all angry. Let's face it, most of us are really angry. But the question is do you see yourself identified as the anger? Because if you do, some part of you will continue to try to manifest anger. Anxiety wants to become fear. Fear wants to become terror, and terror wants to become hatred. And so being at peace is a way to disengage these elements. You know, we've all heard the statement, no justice, no peace, and there's a lot of legitimacy on one level. But if you have that at every level, you're not going to be able to find peace. You have to choose peace before you find it. So anyone else now, can we get 2 more people, and then let's do some practice. Anyone else who can add any element to the discussion of what peace means, and what does it mean what does it mean when we say, what does peace look like? Is that different than saying, what is peace? Or are those exactly the same statements? So anyone at all, if you'd like to chime in, I'd appreciate that. Yes, Liz. Can we unmute everyone again? Liz Looney, or Loney, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. He is looking to, so Gary, can we unmute everyone for a moment, please? So being at peace means having a soft grasp of things. You know, even if things aren't going exactly in flow, being at peace means like stepping back. So I want to bring up this one thing, and I'm going to keep talking until Gary, if you can unmute Liz, or you can type in your answer too if Gary's not able to do that. So being at peace is very related to what my experience was as a massage therapist. I was a massage therapist at one point for like 3 years in the early 90s. So let's see what we have here. Okay. So when I was a massage therapist, I want to tell you the secret to a good massage. The good massage is a massage with strength behind soft hands. That is the essence of peace. When you use sharp fingers and you just dig your fingers in, the body shields itself against you. But if you have soft hands, the body invites you in, and then we're able to shift the entire experience. Suddenly, instead of being painful, it feels really, really good. This is the experience of peace. Okay, so let's go ahead and do some practice. Liz, I have not forgotten you. I'm not exactly sure what that is as far as not being able to be unmuted. But again, if you can type it in, please do so. And I'm sure Gary is working on doing that as well. So let's do a few practices. And I'm hoping to come back to Liz and a few other questions here before we go. So again, we want to understand that peace is resilient. These are some of the qualities of peace. Peace is honest with yourself. When you're truly at peace, it's like looking in the mirror and not having to pretend that you're 7 years younger than you actually are. Peace is framing things in a way that makes you feel like you're winning, but not lying to yourself. Peace is not embracing ignorance. You know, is that really peace? Is it peace when we pretend like we're not having global warming? Or when we're using our iPhone and not thinking about how this was created? You know, peace means being open-hearted and being like a mirror. Remember, a mirror never has anyone too ugly to reflect, right? That is the essence of peace. So I would like to do a few practices, and then I would like to see if we can come back again. So the very first practice I would like to do is ask you to understand that part of being at peace is having peace with your body. Your body tells you the truth. It doesn't lie to you. And so I'm going to ask you, if you would, just to stand up with me for a moment, if you can. Standing up tall. Now be aware of your body. Chest is up. Active core. Pull the navel in just a ½ inch. So if you have pain in your neck and shoulders, it's very challenging to be at peace. Active core, let gravity take the head and roll it over towards the right shoulder. Inhale down. Exhale over towards the left shoulder. Inhale down. Exhaling right. Inhale. Exhale. Active core. Inhaling down. One more time to the right. Inhale down. Last time to the left. Keep breathing. Inhale down. Head up. Shoulders come up and forward. Roll the shoulders forward. Roll the shoulders forward. Now come back the opposite direction. Okay? Now my arms are just to the side. I'm going to bring my palms out and my shoulder blades tight. Open up your heart. Inhale. Palms out, shoulder blades tight. Inhale. Last time. Okay? Now let's have a seat. And just breathe and feel that experience. Okay? So, by the way, stress gets trapped in your shoulders. It gets trapped in your neck. One of the things that happens when we have stress is that all of a sudden our head begins to jut out like that. All right? So that creates stress. When your head is out like that, that's not comfortable for your body, and so you'll have subliminal stress. Another one of the areas that we have subliminal stress is our jaws. So I'm going to ask you now, so let's take a yawn with each other. So let's take a nice breath in. Big yawn. Now sit up tall and just experience it for a moment. Peace is very subtle. Subtlety is more powerful than intensity. Be aware subtly right now that you have less stress in your shoulders, in your jaws. And by the way, your jaws are incredibly important to develop a relationship with. It's important to begin to relax your jaws on a regular basis. Your jaws have the tension set in them from all the challenges you've experienced throughout a life, but particularly in this last period. You know, when we think we're becoming determined, grit our teeth, we want to relax the jaws and understand what happens when you relax the jaws. So let's sit up tall, breathing, chest is up. You can have your eyes either open or closed. And just relax your jaws. Just be conscious of relaxing your jaws. And be aware of the subtlety that comes from relaxing your jaws. When you relax your jaws, your lips become softer. You have less strain in your eyes. The brow point in between your eyebrows begins to smooth out. When you relax your jaws, the center of your forehead is also invited to relax. Just keep breathing. When you relax your jaws have a direct relationship to your hands. Clenched fists always have clenched jaws behind them. So relax your jaws and your hands at the same time. When you relax your jaws, you change your relationship to your neck and shoulders and to your whole upper torso. The subscapularis is on the inside of your shoulder blades. The pectorals pulls your shoulders forward, and the subscap pulls your shoulders forward. When you relax your jaws, you're able to get more space in your heart. When you relax your jaws, you help to open a closed heart. And I would suggest to you that's a huge part of what's going on in the world. We have a deficit of open-heartedness, which means we have a deficit of peace. Now just sit up tall, breathing. You can have your eyes or your closed or open and just kind of do an assessment of the whole body. Jaws relaxed, breathing. Breathing nice and easily. And let's step into another area level of peace. I'm going to ask you to breathe in light. This is called Tonglen Practice. It's a Tibetan practice. This is related to it. We're going to breathe in the yellow light from the sun through the forehead and down through the crown. The yellow light of the sun comes into our system, and it shines and heals our energetic vessel. Continuing to breathe. Now I'm going to ask you to send your light out. The yellow light comes in, it gets translated through our system, and now we have the opportunity to shine light out into the world from the heart. From the heart. Now the light we shine out into the world is white light. Imagine a white star shining out, and again, peace to me comes from inside out, not from outside in, and you shining your light into the world comes from inside out. Imagine white light shining out of your heart, breathing nice and easily, and illuminate someone who's having a tough time. A family member, a friend. You know, we had Patty who said that her father-in-law passed away. It doesn't have to be someone, or her ex-father-in-law, I apologize. It doesn't have to be someone who's alive. Imagine the person and shine white light around them. It's healing, it's protective, it's a firewall. And begin to see their faces shift, brighten. See if there's someone else that you would like to surround, maybe a child, someone you love. Breathing in the yellow light and shining out white light and surround them with that white light. Breathing nice and easily. You know what? I think the earth is having a hard time. Let's shine white light all over the world. Breathing nice and easily. See the whole planet Earth shining with effervescent white light. Breathing nice and easy. Let's take a nice breath in. And an easy sigh. And let the breathing come back to normal. Now, anytime you do a practice, it's important after the practice to just feel the subtlety of shift. There's always an afterglow. Now, there are some feelings that feel good to us. You notice how people love being angry? It feels good to be angry, except for it makes you feel sick and it destroys your life. It's like getting into a drug like meth or something. Let's let it go and recognize our power. Breathing nice and easy. Now the chest is up. Just continuing to breathe. Breathing nice and easy. Let's take a breath in and a big sigh. Let the breathing come back to normal. So that exercise is a simple exercise, Tonglen practice, to help promote peace. Now I want to bring up just two very brief practices that will also dramatically help to create a peaceful world. Understand that if you can't go to sleep without your brain racing and just being tumultuous, that is a recipe to not be at peace. If you're up at 3 o'clock in the morning and you can't sleep because you're thinking too much, that is a recipe to not being at peace. So I think it's important to have practices that you do at night, simple practices that can help you feel more peace. And so I'm going to demonstrate two with you, and then I want to come back to our conversation. So this particular practice that I want to suggest to you that we do right now is a practice about rhythm. Everything we do is in rhythm. Everything. Everything we do is in rhythm, including negative emotional states. You know, when film was much more prevalent than it is now, everything is digital, so many things are digital, but we all remember film as being one frame at a time, and then it's run through the projector at a speed that makes it look continuous. It's still episodic, one frame at a time. And so we want to play with rhythms so that we can use rhythm to help relax ourselves. And so I'm going to demonstrate a practice with you. I would ask you to do it with me if you feel like doing it, but I'm going to demonstrate it. And this is using rhythm to become calmer. So I'm going to just describe this to you real briefly. I'm going to be taking nice, slow, full, even breaths, and I'm going to do it consistently. It's going to take 3-4 minutes to do this practice, in and out. While I'm breathing slowly and fully, at the same time, I'm going to be doing a beat with my hands on my thighs. It's going to be a very rapid beat at first. It's kind of like the old Timex watches, the spindle, how it went back and forth. On 4 different occasions, I'm going to be breathing slowly and doing my hands very rapidly, and I'm going to ask you to slow it down. So the first time, we're going to slow it down about a quarter, so we're doing it at 3/4 speed. We keep breathing, then we're going to slow it down to half speed, and then a quarter speed, and finally we'll end it like so. Now I'm going to be breathing slowly, and I'm going to angle this down so you can kind of see my hands and what my hands are doing. So the chest is up, and if you're comfortable doing this, this is a very powerful practice. Begin that slow, even breath. Start with the breath, slow and even. Slow and even breath, squeezing at the end. We know that when we breathe slower and more fully, our nervous system is able to relax. Now, at the same time, breathing slowly and easily, I'm going to begin to tap out a beat. It's going to be quite rapid. See if you can keep up with me. Breathing nice and easy. Here I go. Breathing slowly and easily at the same time. Slowly and easily. Now I'm going to ask you to slow it down up to 3/4 time. So slowing down, breathe slowly and easy. Keep the same rate. Breathing slowly and easy. Now half time. Breathing slowly and easy. Full slow breaths. They're not speeding up. Full slow breaths. Now a quarter time. Breathing slowly and easily, keep slowing it down. Chest is up and relax. Breathe. Breathing nice and easily, relax. Now let's go into the calming breath. Let's take a breath in. Pause at the top, hold the breath. Exhale it out. Inhale. Pause, hold the breath. Exhale it out. 2 more breaths. Inhale. Pause. Exhale it out. 1 more breath. Pause. Exhale it out. Take a deep breath in. Big sigh. And let the breathing come back to normal. And just take a moment to notice the afterglow of that experience. Eyes opening. So, now both of those 2 practices, by the way, are really, really good for calming your nervous system. By the way, they're very, very good for people who have an extensive trauma history. I have an extensive trauma history, and with all that's been going on, I have had to really activate my practice because that nervous system can get stuck on in that flight or flight mode. Can I check in with you? How did that go? Did anyone at all? So we did 2 practices. They're both calming practices. They're both good to do at night. Is there anyone at all who can tell us how it went? It doesn't have to be good or bad, anything at all. Anyone at all, can you tell us how it went? Jill, would you mind telling us how it went for you? Oh, okay, it's still muted. I'm sorry for that. I apologize for that. Well, anyone, sorry, Jill, because I'm very interested in hearing what people have to say, but unfortunately, I'm not able to unmute you. So if anyone can type in their experience, and I'll read it off because I have access to the chat. Oh, Jill, you're open now. Jill, how did that go for you?
Oh, hi. I was going to say the breath work really does it for me. I feel so at peace, if you want to use that word, because I think I'm one of those people that's normally in a fight or flight mode my entire life. And so it really affects me. I really feel at peace. So thank you for that.
Thank you. And the other one works too. Now, I mean, and the other one's kind of, it's difficult, but the more we practice it, the better that we get. And again, doing those 2 in conjunction works well. So thank you so much, Jill. And I would suggest that there's a lot of us that have our nervous systems stuck on. You know, in a way, I feel fortunate because it happened to me in childhood. So I've been working at this stuff my entire life. But when I see people who really have not had these kind of tools, oh my God, it just seems so, I feel so much compassion for what people are going through. So please consider making a pattern of doing practice when you go to bed at night. And by the way, you already do have a pattern of that. It's just that it's not fun. Activate the pattern in a way that ennobles you, inspires you, and helps you to connect with the fact that your emotions don't, you don't exist for your emotions exist for you. And remember, what we identify, we will work to perpetuate. If you identify yourself as an angry person, you're always going to be trying to be an angry person. Those things are temporary states. Does anyone, thank you, Jill, thank you so much. Does anyone, you know, if you can, if anyone else would like to add in? It was great, thank you, okay? This was from Cindy, thank you, Cindy. All right, so this is so easy to do, guys. This is so easy to do. It's not hard to do, and that's what makes it so incredibly hard. Because it's so easy. We don't like easy stuff, you know? We don't like easy stuff that takes time. We want to have, we want to lose 40 pounds by next week, you know? But remember, that's just bursting through your edge. And when you burst through your edge, you end up having a contraction. So, thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to either chime in about those practices or ask any questions? Because I'm also glad to answer questions if I can. I'm also glad to tell you that I don't know the answer if I don't. But if you have any questions, and then we can go on to some more elements. If you have any questions, either raise your hand or type something in. I'm sorry, Ellen, did you have your hand raised for a second there? No, okay. All right, so, you know, let's talk about this further, guys. I want to suggest to you that part of being at peace is realizing how important it is to the world that you be at peace. I've been in many, many dangerous situations, and it's funny too. I remember I was in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Actually, I was in Dupere, which is close to Green Bay, and this was many, many years ago. And it was funny to me because I was there for Christmas, and every gift had a Green Bay Packer motif. Even the gift to the infant was a Green Bay Packer onesie. Because I'm like, wow, this is really interesting. So anyway, I went to a Packer game, and the very first play of the game, on the kickoff, the Packers fumbled the ball and the other team scored a touchdown. The person I was with was like, it's over. We got no shot. And I'm like, well, you know, that was just the first play, you know? We can't jump to conclusions. We have to understand that you are so powerful, and you being at peace is incredibly important to the world. Don't limit the influence that you have. It's like dropping rocks into a pond. They just go out in concentric circles, spreading out. You know, we don't know the length of it. I've often told the story of the woman, you know, I grew up in a really difficult situation, both in the home and in the community. I grew up in a really racist situation. And there was an Irish woman who had 7 children whose husband had left her, and she was having a hard time. She's probably in her early 40s at the time when I was in 2nd, 3rd grade. She befriended me. And she gave me a place I could go to feel safe when I was a kid. Wow, I'm 56. I'm still telling you about this lady. This is how powerful you are. Don't limit your power. Just because you don't see the effects of your power, don't think that's not continuing to reverberate. It's important to you to come to peace because we need the world to come to peace. And if we're not willing to do it, how can we expect the world to do it? I've shown you this guy before. He's one of my best friends. This guy, he is one of my best friends in the whole world. I love this guy. Partially, I have to admit, I feel some affinity to his physique. But I also love him because of the joy that he radiates. Look at that guy. This is a Buddha. This is a Buddha that's radiating joy, radiating peace. It does not mean that you hide from what's going on in the world. It means that even if you are growing up in a world of struggle and strife, you can still enjoy your life. if you have the ability to be an observer and to understand what your role is. You know, I was in a play one time. I was a great actor. I was in a play one time, and my role, it was the most important role in the play. I was the guard in back to the right. That was my whole role. I didn't have any lines. I was just like, you know, it was the most important role in the play. Because if I didn't know my role, I could have disrupted the whole thing. If you don't understand what your role is, you are going to mess up your life. Your primary role in your life is to observe your life and to enjoy the experience. That's your primary role. If you're not enjoying your life, then you're not fulfilling your primary purpose. Joy is not happiness. It's a sense of being on mission. We can go into the world and we can make a difference. And I would suggest to you that it's vitally important that you realize that we're in a pivotal point in our history. Don't be afraid by it. That's calling you to become your incredibly amazing self. So let's, I would normally say any questions or statements. I don't know if anyone has any questions or statements that they can put through the chat, I guess. But in any case, if you do not, let's do some more practice. And by the way, this is so much fun. And I want to ask you to liberate your inner dork. You know you were a dork. Don't pretend like you weren't a dork in 5th grade. You know you were. Come on, most of us were. And in fact, most of the people who are really cool now were dorks in fifth grade, right? So let's do something really, really dorky. We've done it before together. I'm going to ask you to sing with me. Now, you guys are all muted, so you know you don't have to worry about other people hearing you, but I'm going to sing. And I'm going to sing Row, Row, Row Your Boat. So sit up tall, feet are flat, chest is up. And by the way, I'm going to ask you to do it in this sequence. I'm going to sing it 3 times, and then I'm going to pause. I'm going to sing it 3 times, and then I'm going to pause, and I'm going to end up singing it 3 times. So the chest is up. Here we go, breathing. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Just sit tall and breathe for a moment. Feel that echo in your heart. Breathing. Now, wherever you are, even if you're not on the screen, breathing nice and easily, I'm going to ask you to point to yourself. I'm going to ask you to point first, and I'm going to point to myself after most of you have pointed that I can see. Now, I'm going to point to myself. Now, if you go all over the world, when you ask people to point to themselves, you know what they do? They do this. They don't do this. Point to yourself. Have you ever seen anyone do that before? I'm right here. Almost invariably, they will point right here. And I'm asking you to understand what they're pointing at. Now, the heart is the timepiece. It's the physical timepiece. But the energetic heart, the heart is slightly to the side. The energetic heart is right here, right in the middle of your chest. That's the energetic heart. It is, when they talk about the heart of the matter, that is your heart. Your heart is not your intellect. I'm not saying that your intellect is not important. Your heart is here, and by being grounded in your belly, it helps you to be in your heart. And so now I would like to suggest to you that suffering closes your heart. Pain and suffering are not the same thing. Pain is dealing with the situation as it is, how painful it is in our wonderful community that we've had some of these horrible things that have occurred. That's pain. Suffering is when you can't get off of not wanting it to be this way. Peace is being able to look in the mirror and accept what we see. So that song that we did is an incredible technology. Now, I know some of you are wondering if I wrote the song. I actually didn't write that song. Isn't it interesting that we've been hearing that song our whole lives? That is a powerful technology. Row, row, row your boat. Rowing your boat is going through the flow of life. It's going through the flow of your life. And if you notice, he's not, or he or she, or the person singing, is not saying that you're just being taken by the current. You're rowing. This is an active thing. Rowing is your desire. What are you trying to accomplish? If you're rowing with the stream, the whole power of the river is going to be your power. Every stroke you take is going to be powerful. You know, merrily, 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 merrily. Again, this is not something that just happens to you. Merrily is something active. You're doing something. Joy is the same thing. Joy is active, okay? So merrily, 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 we could say joyfully, 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 life is but a dream. A dream and a nightmare are the same thing. It's just that in one, you're wishing it's not happening, and the other, you're understanding this is happening for you and not to you, even with all that's going on. So this is very, very important, and it's very important that we recognize these elements and also recognize how it goes back to one of the original practices that we did today, which was the rhythm, you know, breathing slowly and doing the rhythm at the same time. Everything we do is in rhythm. So I'm asking you to interrupt your rhythm that makes you be so disturbed. You have to balance in the inner and the outer world. You have to bring down the, like when you fly and your ears pop, you know, the pressure gets off. You know, it's really important, like for instance, with babies, that you give them a lozenge or something so that they can deal with that pressure. If they can't deal with the pressure, something goes wrong. And so we have to deal with the pressure merrily, 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 merrily. Let's love this life exactly as it is. And let's find a way to transform it. And let's do it together. We can do this. We got this. But you have to choose to do it. And you can't choose to do it by not choosing to do it. You can't choose to do it by gorging yourself with news every single day, even though we all want to do it. We have to balance ourselves. Even water can kill you if you take too much of it. So we really have to balance the process. So if anyone has any questions or statements, you can put them through the chat. I don't think that the muting was working, but let's just see if we have anything else here. Okay. All right. So I don't think we have anything else. So let's do some more practice. So remember originally when we broke up the rhythm with the slowing down, the singing is also rhythmic. And by the way the Spartans said the singing was one of the key ways to alleviate fear. The ancient Spartans, they were very militaristic, but they had to learn how to deal with fear because they would be in these dangerous situations all the time. Singing helps you to do that. I'm asking you to really start making yourself really important. We need to get you out in the world, but if you are coming at things the wrong way, you will have the exact opposite of the effect that you're trying to have. You will repulse what you want to have happen. If you want peace in the world and you're telling people they're stupid, that's not effective, in my world anyway. You know, I do have a college roommate who is trying to get me to change my political affiliation, and his whole method is to tell me how stupid I am. And I'm just like, it doesn't work for me. Maybe it's effective with other people. You know, if you really want something to happen, part of the thing that happens for us is that we want peace, but we want peace to come about the way that we want it. It has to go exactly the route, or else we're not interested. I'm asking you to start with peace and build your way back to how you're able to make it happen. So let's go ahead and do just a little bit more practice together. I'm going to take you guys through another guided meditation. You know, now these meditations, by the way, it's a good idea to write them down. I mean, not word for word, but today, after the session, I'm asking you to take this into the world with you. Bring the commitment to radiate peace. And you can do that partially by writing things down. Write down the practices that we did today. We did the rhythm practice. We did the calming breath. We sang row, row, row your boat. Write them down. There's an old saying, just a brief story, about a guide who is taking a group through a very difficult journey, and they feel like they've had it. What I call existential fatigue. You know, when you've had so many disappointments, it feels like you can't handle another one. And so they want to give up and they want to go back. But they're already 3/4 of the way into the journey. Going back is actually going to be harder than finishing it. That's where we are. We have to recognize it. Now, so what this guy does is he creates a magical city. He's a magician. And they're able to go into the city and recreate and calm themselves and soothe themselves. This is immersive practice. This is jumping into an ice cold lake and realizing that you're not going to be able to focus on whether you're a Republican or Democrat during that brief moment. So we want to begin to do immersive practice every single day. So let's do just a little bit more. So let's start off with a couple. The very first one I'm going to do now is the alternate nostril breath. This works very well with the calming breath, by the way. You know, that hold the breath and exhale it. By the way, the calming breath, you inhale, hold to a count of 7, exhale it out, squeeze your stomach and immediately breathe in, hold to a count of 7, and just go into that rhythm. As you get better at it, you'll begin to slow down that count so that the count from 1 to 7 takes longer than it does early on. But this also works well. Let's do the alternate nostril breath. I'm going to take my right hand, I'm going to hold it up. Okay, let me make sure the time here. Okay, I'm going to hold up my right hand. I'm going to close the 3 fingers inside, so just the pinky and the thumb are up. Hang loose. I don't know if you do it in the front or back. Hang loose. So take a breath in with both nostrils. I'm going to use my pinky and block off my left nostril. Exhale out the right, slowly. Breathe in slowly through the right nostril. Be patient. And exhale out the left. Going through the left. And exhaling out the right. And just go back and forth at your own rate. Be patient. It should be so slow. Expand fully, a full deep breath. It should be so slow that you can barely hear the breath yourself if at all. And just keep going back and forth. Full deep breaths. If possible, the tongue's in contact with the roof of the mouth. Now breathe in through the left. And exhale out the right. Breathe in the right. And exhale out the left. Let them go. Let's take a breath with both nostrils. And a big sigh. And again, just feel for a moment. The most important time of the practice is the split second after you complete the practice. Feel the afterglow. If you don't allow yourself to sit and feel the afterglow, the practice has not completed itself. Feel the afterglow. Breathing nice and easily. And let's just do a guided meditation real quick. We'll end our session today on a guided meditation. So the chest is up, breathing. Relax the hands and the jaws in the center of the forehead. And just begin that slow, even breath. Breathing nice and easily. Now I'm going to ask you now, in your mind's eye, Breathing nice and easily. Just visualize yourself in the room that you're in. Just take a look at the room in your mind's eye. Look around the room, even with your eyes closed, you know the space that you're in. No, don't forget, you're also in this space, breathing nice and easily. And let's go up on the ceiling and look downward at our head. See if you can remember what clothes you have on. Breathing nice and easily. Now let's imagine being outside and looking down at the house that you are in. Are you in a house or an apartment building? Breathing. Now with this vantage point, you can see the house, the top of the house, but you can kind of see the area. What's your neighborhood look like from on high? Breathing slowly and easily. Let's go a little bit higher up and look down the metropolitan area, the Twin City metropolitan area. Just look around. We're higher now. It's like being in an airplane. Breathing nice and easy. Let's go higher up still. So now we're looking at the planet Earth. See the whole planet. Continue going further out. Let's go to the point where we see Jupiter now. Let's look back at the solar system. The sun is much smaller. We can't even really see the Earth anymore. Keep going out now, the whole solar system, and let's keep going, breathing slowly and easily to the point that you can visualize the whole Milky Way. That's our home. You are here. Breathing nice and easily. Now go so far back that you can see all those incredible galaxies. You know those images from the Hubble telescope where the galaxies look like stars? Oh. Just continue to breathe. Allow yourself to be drawn back by your heart to home. Breathing slowly and easily, coming back to the Milky Way. Let your heart draw you back home. Don't rush. You have all the time in the world. Coming back, now see the solar system. There's Jupiter again. Now the Earth is a pinprick, but now it's growing a big blue marble. Coming back through the stratosphere. Seeing the Twin Cities, breathing nice and easily, seeing your house. Coming in the room, see the top of your head. Now bring yourself into your body, breathing slowly and easily. And just pay attention now. Try to notice any subtle detail. What is underneath your feet? How warm is it? Breathing nice and easily. Feel the breath coming in and out. Noticing smell. Be aware of taste. Breathing slowly and easy. Feel touch your tongue and your face all the way through your body. Noticing temperature. Breathing slowly and easily, aware of rhythm. Find your eyesight, even with your eyes closed. Notice if you can see any colors. And finding the breath. Breathing nice and easily. Let's take a nice breath in. And an easy sigh. Let the breathing come back to normal. Now again, feel the echo. So, we went through a couple of different practices today. You know, is there anyone who enjoyed that practice? If you know, could you raise your hand if you enjoyed it? All right, beautiful, wonderful, wonderful. Now, remember, part of the key to life is having perspective. You know, I found this picture today. This was one of my best friends and his mom. He was like my little brother. He passed away 4 years ago. And it means so much to me. But I know that when I'm at peace, that I'm in contact with him. And I'm in contact with everyone. I would suggest that when we are at peace, we can make a real, real difference. So I'm asking you, my friends, to choose peace. It doesn't mean that you can't set limits. Choose peace. I saw one person do this and they switched it to this, yeah? That was the sign of victory for the British in World War II. Some people see it as an obscene gesture too, but that's what it meant in World War II. So let's find victory. You can do this if you are whole. One last question, or one last statement I want to make. It's important to understand words. What does the word universe mean? The word universe means the one song. That's what the word means. The universe. One song. You are that song. No matter what happens in the world, choose peace. So I believe that we're at the end of our time. I mean, I can keep going, but I believe that we're at the end of our time now. So
thanks, Drake. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Hey, can I ring one bell here before we go? I want to ring the bell. And by the way, this mission, should you choose to accept it, and you know, again, it tells you what a dork I am. I'm still using lines from 1966. This mission, should you choose to accept it, is to bring some of this energy into the world today. Take one of those practices that we did and do it today. So I'm going to ring the bell. Listen carefully. Oh, one more thing. Consider getting the book You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. And activate these affirmations. Believe me, you're getting too many negative messages. You have to bring yourself some positive ones. And consider using the term, I will not entertain negative thoughts. Say it 3 times. I will not entertain negative thoughts. I will not entertain negative thoughts. I will not entertain negative thoughts. Make it a pattern. I'm going to ring the bell. And my friend and I say namaste. So.